My work is about pointing to complexity and interrelations. My last film, Truth or Consequences, was the first time that I really fully sort of followed my own instincts completely.
How long have you lived here?
7 years, 8 years.
Okay, here we go. Homeward bound.
And made something that is much less traditional. It mixes virtual reality worlds, an improvised score. It has a speculative premise. It claims to take place very subtly in the near future, which is an interesting thing to do with documentary footage. But it's all very deeply based in very patient, very long-form observational documentary filmmaking. And what does that actually mean? That means spending a huge amount of time in the place with the people. And through making this film, I feel like I've started to really articulate a practice, which is around listening. Listening to a place, listening to people, but also potentially creating a piece of work which allows other people to listen in new ways. And I think that the effect of that way of working is that people open up.
Oh yeah, I'm very lonely here. It's rare I meet somebody I can relate to, I'll even let come close to my life.
I would say that process creates, is born from a kind of love. And my hope is that it creates films that feel loving and curious and open and surprising. And my job is to just actively listen. Not passively listen, actively listen. Follow the threads, follow the emotion, see where spaces can be opened up, see where the person wants to open up spaces.
Spaceport has gotten money from us so they can take somebody up in space for $250,000. And they gotta be rich people to afford that. And the desire to go up like that, holy cow, you couldn't talk me into it.
I love editing. I find it the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I don't know if that's true, but it's up there. And one of the things that I think people don't totally know about documentary editing is that it's often when the film gets made, actually. There's often a lot of planning in the beginning and then a whole lot of shooting. But what the form of the film will take usually happens in the edit. So the edit is this really amorphous and strange and uncertain and changing creative space. You're also navigating your own sense of what you hope this project will be. So my role as an editor is about trying to listen to the footage, trying to actually understand what it is and what it's telling me. The editing process is also really interesting because it's part analytical and part totally creative and intuitive. It's a really strange combination between the two. You're often dealing with the very, very micro decisions of like literally what clip goes next to what, and these like larger existential and narrative questions. One thing I think that's interesting about editing is that everybody would take footage and make something different. And I think maybe that's not quite talked about that much, that it is just hugely creative. It's the closest I've ever come to a fully expressed art practice.